Now, we journey to the cradle of civilization, exploring the emergence of the first cities, nestled within the fertile marshlands of the Tigris and Euphrates. While villages stretched from the Levant into northern Syria and Iraq, few dared to venture into these marshes. Devoid of lumber for roof beams and lacking metal or even stone, the marshes presented significant challenges. Yet, around 5000 BCE, remarkable transformations began. Societies gradually abandoned their integrated farming-hunting lifestyles, choosing instead to focus solely on farming. Their goal was ambitious: to produce massive grain surpluses that could be traded for other essential resources. These cities were far from secular endeavors. They were divine enterprises, established at the behest of deities who, in Mesopotamian mythology, were credited as the true creators of urban life. In the human realm, however, the establishment of these cities required significant technological ingenuity. The Tigris and Euphrates rivers, unlike the Nile, posed a unique challenge. They flooded before the harvest, in April and May, rendering low-lying lands unsuitable for farming. Yet, sedimentation from the rivers formed natural levees, which farmers reinforced, enabling the canal beds to rise above the surrounding countryside. Through careful engineering, they created openings in these levees to direct water into irrigation channels, a technique still in use today. Modern aerial photography has revealed the extent of their innovation, exposing the vast network of ancient canals and dikes. Some of these structures stretched over 100 kilometers, testifying to the ingenuity and determination of the early inhabitants of this harsh landscape. The relationship between the Mesopotamian cities and their rivers was a delicate and often precarious one. The Tigris and Euphrates, the lifelines of these settlements, posed constant threats. Floods could devastate crops and infrastructure, while war and neglect could bring the intricate irrigation systems to ruin. Historical records from the city of reveal a recurring theme. Repairing the dikes and canals was an ongoing challenge. Yet, despite these vulnerabilities, the investment in managing these waters yielded extraordinary returns. In just a few centuries, this region transformed into an unparalleled economic powerhouse, rivaled only by Egypt. While often discussed in the context of agricultural advancements, these cities evolved into much more than farming hubs. They became essential centers of trade, serving as the conduits for export and import in a flourishing regional economy. Eridu and Uruk stood as remarkable examples of early urban sophistication. These cities were, in essence, modern for their time, and their economies revolved around the production and distribution of grain, necessitating precise control and the efficient movement of goods. It was in these cities that some of humanity's greatest innovations emerged. The wheel, an invention that revolutionized transportation, came into full use here, enabling the hauling of heavy loads across long distances. Standardized weights were also developed, laying the groundwork for consistent trade practices. Among the most transformative advancements was the advent of writing. What began as a practical tool for recording trade transactions and maintaining inventories evolved into one of the cornerstones of civilization. Writing enabled the development of legal and archival systems, facilitating the organization and governance of increasingly complex societies. The impact of these innovations extends into the present day. In Ur, the ancient title for king was Lugal, a word believed to have given rise to the Latin term lex, which means law, and eventually the English word legal. Similarly, the term pala, denoting the garment of kingship, is the root of our modern word palace. These linguistic traces serve as enduring reminders of the profound legacy left by Mesopotamian culture, a legacy that shaped the very structure of governance, trade, and society. The rise of urban civilization in Mesopotamia brought with it a profound transformation in religious life. A complex pantheon emerged, reflecting the intricacies of urban society. The once dominant mother goddess, worshipped widely across Eurasia, found herself rivaled by a growing array of powerful male deities who bound society into networks of obligation and hierarchy. A key myth exemplifies this shift. The mother goddess Apsu, ruler of the oceans, was killed by her son, E, the god of earth. E then brought order by dividing her chaotic waters into chambers. This narrative symbolized a broader cultural shift and coincided with the rise of a priestly class. These priests assumed immense responsibilities, overseeing not only religious rituals and offerings, but also societal administration and technological advancements. They orchestrated the construction of increasingly monumental buildings, architectural feats that displayed their power and solidified their role as intermediaries between the divine and the mortal realms. The Ubaid culture, which began mastering the Tigris and Euphrates rivers as early as 5000 BCE, laid the foundation for this transformation. By 3000 BCE, they were succeeded by the Sumerians, who were the pioneers of modernization. The Sumerians replaced long-standing traditions with more organized and efficient systems, setting the stage for the evolution of urban life. Eridu, one of the earliest cities in Mesopotamia, was strategically positioned along the banks of the Euphrates River in its delta region. Although sedimentation has since pushed the site 90 kilometers inland, Eridu once enjoyed seamless access to boats traveling from the south. The city's most iconic feature was its temple, a structure rebuilt 17 times between 4500 and 3800 BCE. Each reconstruction layered directly atop the previous one, creating a monumental edifice which looks like a true mountain of bricks. The earliest iteration of the temple was modest, featuring a simple box-like design with an altar at the back and an oven outside for preparing sacred bread offerings. Over time, the temple evolved into a grand architectural statement. The final version was positioned on a massive clay brick platform, painted in vivid colors and visible for miles around. Its design featured rhythmically spaced buttresses, a roughly rectangular layout with an irregular perimeter, and a central flight of steps leading to the entrance. Inside, a shallow vestibule opened into a large central hall, flanked by ancillary spaces, likely serving as reliquaries. At the heart of Eridu's religious life was the worship of Ea, the son of the mother goddess Apsu. Ea, embodying the sweet waters of the earth, was revered for his cunning nature, one who avoided obstacles rather than confronting them directly, yet always achieved his goals. According to some myths, E created humanity by combining his essence with that of his brother, Enlil, the god of earth and storms. Ea's imagery depicted him cloaked in fish scales, symbolizing his connection to water. Fish bones, found near the temple's offering table, highlight this association. A later text praises Ea's majesty, stating, "When Ea rose, the fishes rose and adored him. He stood, a marvel unto the deep. To the sea it seemed that awe was upon him. To the great river terror seemed to hover around him, while the south wind stirred the depth of the Euphrates." Eridu's temple not only served as a center for worship, but also as a prototype for later monumental religious architecture, leaving an enduring legacy in the history of civilization. The temple at Eridu set a precedent for future Mesopotamian temple architecture. A statue from around 2150 BCE portrays a detailed, two-scale plan of a similar temple design, complete with doors and pilasters. This plan, placed on the lap of King Gudea of Lagash, illustrates not only the precision of early architectural planning, but also the symbolic role of these temples. They were more than buildings. They were manifestations of royal legitimacy and divine favor, reflecting the sacred function of kingship in early Mesopotamian society. Uruk emerged as one of Mesopotamia's most significant cities, with an estimated population of 50,000, a remarkable size for its time. Dedicated to Anu, the sky god, Uruk became a center of worship and innovation. Anu, a newly prominent deity, was symbolically linked to the mathematics and trade, reflecting the city's growing complexity. At the heart of Uruk stood the White Temple, begun around 4000 BCE, resting atop a broad terrace on a towering artificial hill. The temple rose 13 meters above the plain, commanding a view of the expansive fields and marshes. The White Temple's overall shape was simpler than that of the temple at Eridu, but as at Eridu, one passed through a shallow vestibule into a great hall. In the White Temple, however, there was in one corner a platform or altar with a flight of narrow steps leading up to it. Toward the middle of the space was an offering table with a low semicircular hearth built up against it. To the west of the building there was another temple, built out of stone that had been imported from the mountains to the west. Its purpose and the reason for its peculiar plan remains a mystery, though its presence underscores the resourcefulness of Uruk's builders. This period also marked a pivotal advancement in construction techniques. Mesopotamian builders adopted kilns to harden bricks, roof tiles, and drainage tubes. It seems they are influenced by their interactions with the Indus Valley civilization. In the resource-scarce marshlands, bricks became a luxury, reserved for temples, palaces, and gates. The use of bricks signified status, as seen in the grandeur of Uruk structures. Kiln-fired bricks required vast amounts of wood, contributing to the eventual deforestation and desertification of the region. Yet, the architectural achievements of Uruk were unparalleled. Its iconic brick city wall, referenced in the Epic of Gilgamesh, was celebrated as a marvel of craftsmanship and durability. In this epic, we are invited to behold the wonders of Uruk, which reads as follows. Look at its wall, which gleams like copper. Inspect its inner wall, the likes of which no one can equal. Take hold of the threshold stone. It dates from ancient times. Go close to the Eanna temple, the residence of Ishtar, such as no later king or man ever equaled. Go up on the wall of Uruk and walk around, examine its foundation, inspect its brickwork thoroughly. Is not the brick structure made of kiln-fired brick? And did not the seven sages themselves lay out its plans? The walls of Uruk, its temples, and its innovations in building materials symbolize the enduring legacy of this monumental city, a beacon of human ingenuity in ancient Mesopotamia.